In the United States, girls grow up too quickly, while in Japan, they stay young forever. I'd like to talk to you now about children and sex. First, my country, America. In the United States, the ideal image in many cases seems to be the sexy woman. Low-cut blouse, high skirt, showing lots of skin. Men seem to like that. Women seem to like that. The society seems to like that. You see it in films, on TV, and advertising everywhere. Accordingly, children catch on to this. And sometimes it's hard to tell a high school-age girl from an adult woman, the way they dress, the way they act, and the way they behave. Now, of course, they're really children in adult bodies, adult-looking bodies in that case, and that can get them into many problems. That's, of course, a very big problem and one that needs to be addressed with some serious attention. My focus, though, today is on my adopted home, Japan. I'd like to talk about how sex and children are the situation with the sex and children here in Japan. If you're familiar with Japan, you're familiar with the word kawaii. It's on the internet all the time. It's a very familiar word. Kawaii simply means cute. And it's one of the defining words if you think of the popular culture in Japan. Kawaii is everywhere. Products, manga, movies, if you even dress, clothing, people tend to adapt a kawaii appearance, particularly women and girls, in their dress and mannerisms. Women, adult grown women, will often dress in a very cute fashion, especially when going on dates, and display ultra-feminine behavior, giggling excessively, being very, very girlish is the way to describe it, especially when on dates. And Japanese men accordingly like that. Japanese men seem to prefer their women cute rather than sexy. Now that's all nice and fine. It works great as long as it's an adult arena. The problem is, though, that when men have a sexual interest in women who are cute, who does cute best? Young girls, of course. Young girls, teenage girls, junior high school girls, and especially little elementary school age girls. And the problem that I want to address here is the way that many men in this country have focused their attention on young underage girls and children, for that matter. Now, of course, there are pedophiles in every country. I'm not singling Japan out for that. But what I do want to single Japan out for, or maybe not single it out for, but simply bring to light, is the fact that not only are there a large number of men who are interested in underage women, but there is an industry, several industries that cater to them. There are products, magazines, videos, and even associations in Japan for men who have that interest. The icon of all of these interests is the image of a young girl in her schoolgirl uniform. Japanese girls, junior high school and high school age girls, wear something called a seirafuku. It's basically a sailor suit. You're probably sure you're familiar with it. It's got a little flap here and little ribbon and the like in the skirt, and pleated skirt and the like, and little socks. And that image of a little girl, of a girl basically in her sailor suit, is one of the most sexy images for many men here in Japan. You see it everywhere. You can't go into a convenience store and come to the magazine rack without seeing images of young girls in their sailor suits in provocative poses, bursting out of their blouses, engaging in questionable activities. Basically, this industry feeds into the fantasies of these men. There are three-dimensional, if you go into a department store and go to the novelty section, you'll find little three-dimensional figures of girls in provocative poses again. And these, again, feed into this fantasy. There are sections of Tokyo where you can go and find shops that cater to this. There are groups that associate with this. There are internet clubs and the like. Now, all over the world, these things exist. But in Japan, these industries that cater to this seem to be tolerated, or if they're not, or at least ignored at best. Why is this a problem? Because there's pedophiles all over the place in this country. Now, I've lived in Tokyo, I've lived in Osaka, I've lived near Hamamatsu, I live in Shizuoka for over a total of 8 years, and every place I've gone, the problem has existed. I mean, it's more than anything I've ever seen in the States. Currently, we have a young girl that goes to elementary school. She's in her 4th grade now. And the school that she goes to is constantly sending flyers home, calling us to let us know about another incident that occurred to some little girl walking home from school, to or from school. It seems like it's happening just all the time. We're in a very frequent thing. And this week alone, the thing that's prompting me to make this video was this week alone, there were 2 such incidents in our neighborhood, one right next to our house. In the latter case, the man actually followed the little girl in his car, stopped and assaulted her, grabbed her and assaulted her, molested her right on the street until she screamed, and then he ran away. Now, I want to applaud the Japanese police and the community for an excellent response. The school was notified, the community leaders notified, and the neighborhoods, so that the neighborhood and the community knows what's going on. The police took a response. They hear that they sent out not only a police officer but a detective and a sketch artist, and they did a great job of talking to the girl and getting the information down. As I said, there was another incident, similar incident, the same week in the same area. These things are going on all the time. And if you walk around our neighborhood, and this is common all over, I think all over Japan, at least in Shizuoka, you'll find houses and businesses with these little flags flying. And those flags are basically telling children that's a safe house in case they're being followed. My wife tells me that when she was growing up, that this was a common thing as well. And back then, she was living in an area like this. It was basically countryside. And she's told me scary stories of pedophiles making their way onto her school, lying in wait in the forest, and ambushing girls in the middle of the night. It's a big problem, and it's one that's not going away or getting better. It seems to be getting better in any way. So my message here is, first of all, I want to address the fact that this problem is happening. I want to speak out and say that Japan has a pedophile problem. You have a problem with adult men going after little girls, in particular boys too, I'm sure, but particularly little girls in broad daylight in residential areas, and seem to be getting away with this for the most part. And the issue that I want to point out, I don't know what we can do about that in particular. We do the best police work we can, but the thing we can do something about is our tolerance of this pedophile industry, of this pedophile supporting industry, the tolerance of images of children sexualized in magazines, the portrayal of children in such situations in models and on television and on in films and in very many aspects of the society. I don't know why Japan tolerates this type of thing. It's a very conservative culture that takes great care of its children. I don't know why they accept this one element. I'd like to please request, as a resident of Japan, I'd like to please request the Japanese government to take this seriously, the Japanese people to take this seriously, and let's take steps to protect our children here. Likewise, I'd like to send the same message to the people of my own country, the United States. I think it's a terrible thing that we do to cause our children to grow up so quickly, and we rob them of their youth and their innocence, and we take something away that they'll never have back, and we damage them in ways that we may not even completely understand. And I wish that both countries would take steps to protect their children and to allow them to be children during those precious years while they're growing up. Well, that's it. That's what I wanted to say. I'm going to get back to my hike now. Thank you for stopping by and having a listen. Take care.